midnight run. It was summer of 2010. I had recently gone through a breakup with my ex. At this time, I was over at a friend's house playing video games, waiting for a lunar eclipse that was to occur that same night at 3 a.m. Hours had passed as we played through most of the day, taking breaks only to drink water, eat a snack, or head towards the bathroom. It was 3 a.m. before we knew it, and it was a magnificent sight. Seeing the moon slowly transform from a bright white to a beautiful blood red color. There wasn't many words I could put together at that time for the amazement to which I was experiencing. Only the word beautiful was all I could muster up to say out loud. Little did I know what was to come later that night of wonderment. Normally on a night like this, my friend always offers to drive me home. Instead, I decided to decline his kind offer and walk home. It was a decision I made for my own comfort, for I was, at the time, still upset about my breakup and wished to be alone with my thoughts. Walking provided that small peace of mind that I needed, and it was, at the time, a good idea to just allow my emotions to run its course. With backpack in hand and an earbud in my left ear, I said goodnight to my friend and started my way home. It was dark without a single car on the road, only the street lamps to light my path. I, of course, walked the same route for so long, knew it would take me at least 45 to an hour to get home, depending on traffic. To get home, I would cut through the middle school, pass by the elementary school behind it, towards a canal leading up to the city park. Once arriving at the park, I noticed something rather odd. There were no lights on. The park was completely pitch black, with only the moon providing very little light. It was quiet, with only the sound of my heart beating as I began to put my earbuds away. Why are they off? I said to myself, knowing that they were always on at this time. I could see lights. They're still on in town, just across the park, up the steep hill and over the bridge. I shrugged my backpack in place while tightly holding the straps with both hands. Forward, I softly said, forcing my legs to continue moving. It was still quiet. No crickets, no birds. Not even that very annoying whistle of that tiny frog that's always right by your window at night. Only the sound of my heartbeat and my shoes walking through the grass. I felt like I was being watched, studied by someone. There was no one around. No cars, no cops, just the moon and my thoughts. I was finally reaching the steep hill, feeling relieved to have crossed the pitch black park. Suddenly, I heard footsteps, so I was climbing the hill. I stopped. I saw no one. Not in the park, not on the road towards the bridge. I continued climbing. I could hear footsteps again. This time I reached the top of the hill, onto the sidewalk path leading to the bridge, quietly standing still. No one around. It was getting louder. Where is it? Louder. Is it behind me? Louder. To the right, down the road. Louder. No, to the bridge. Louder. There's no one there. How can... And then I saw it. Heard it? How to explain? I could see no one in front of me, but there on the road, I could see gravel moving, and I heard the sound of footsteps running on it. There was no one, yet I can see and hear footsteps on the road heading towards me, till they finally passed right by me. I ran across the bridge into town where the lights were on, but I didn't stop. I didn't stop at the subway. I didn't stop at the stock show. I didn't stop till I got home inside my apartment. My family was asleep, and my legs were heavy. I drank some water but nearly choked. What did I see? What did I hear? I couldn't think. I went to bed, but I didn't sleep. Just looked out the window so I could see the night sky turn blue. And then, nothing. Moonlight Cemetery. Summer of 2014, late one night, my brother was with some friends under a street light. They were walking and talking, walking home you might say. Little did they know of what was to come that day. "Let's head over here," pointed out a friend. "Let's have some fun over here at this end." It was down a dirt road towards new apartments it led. But just at the end of that road was a sign that read, "Our Lady of Mercy Cemetery" was just up ahead. An adventure, he explained, was his reason that night. An adventure he'll have. An adventure of fright. To the cemetery they walked without a care in the world. To the cemetery they'll stop once they felt unnerved. For there were no lights, you see, as they approach. No lights at the cemetery, just darkness for those who would encroach. Only the moon in the sky was there to light their way. It was very little light, and a phone, to their dismay. There was wind and crickets to break the quiet sound. Only gravestones of the dead. No one around. Slowly they walked in. It felt like an hour before they were finally on holy ground. Who left this one flower? It was red and lush, just picked, one would say. But where did it come from at this time of day? Come on, let's go. Who cares about a flower? Like there's anyone here late at this hour, said the same friend who pointed out this very way. They slowly began to lay on a grave to their dismay. "What are you doing?" said my brother with fear in his throat. "Don't be that way. Sit down," he said as he wrote. He put yes on one side and no on the other. "A game," he said, looking at my dear brother. "I'll ask one question with the pencil in the middle. Then you ask another and we'll solve this riddle." "Hello," he wrote on. "Goodbye," the other. Everyone became anxious and were very soon bothered by a cracking sound in the distance, in the darkness of the grave. But still they waited, oh so very brave. "Is anyone here?" he said. "Yes," the pencil said. Could it be that they are now talking to the dead. Are you nearby us now? Do you need help somehow? Slowly the pencil turned and said just one word. Yes. The pencil laid, and there it had stayed. For my brother's phone soon did fell, and here I must tell. The text that he received, I can say, I do believe. It said, "Help, I can't breathe." Mall of Fright. Fall 2017. It's been a few months since I've started my new job. Never had I thought that one day I would become a security guard, thanks to the help of a friend who provided me with the opportunity. Now tonight will be my first time on the night shift, alone. I arrived at the mall entrance. It was quiet, peaceful, a complete contrast to the noisy and busy traffic during the day. An empty parking lot as far as the eye could see as I drove up to the locker room door. No one around, I said to myself, spotting 2 cars belonging to my coworkers. They must be inside the locker room. Parking my car in the nearest lot space, I noticed a dark shadow pass by my rearview mirror just to the corner of my eye. I quickly turned to see if one of the guys was behind me, but no one was there. I took off my glasses and noticed a smudge just to the corner of my left lens. Always dirty, I said, getting off the car. Cleaning them while approaching the locker room door, I could still hear the music being played inside the mall as I finally opened the door. Both my colleagues were already sitting inside, preparing to clock out for the day. "Hey Nick, ready for the first night?" "I think so," I said with a nervous smile. "Don't worry about it, man. Just remember, if the zombie apocalypse happens, we'll be here to relieve you. You got this, buddy," my colleague said while patting me on the back. "Just try not to let the place burn down, alright?" "Right," I said, nodding. Wasn't long before the guys clocked out and were leaving the parking lot. No one left, I spoke softly. "Let's get started then." I began to walk the hallways and corridors, checking each door, ensuring no one was inside the mall. It was quite tedious work. On the go, on a new task that was to be completed. My legs were heavy before I knew it, and Mother Nature was soon calling. I looked around for the nearest restroom. "Restroom 9, I said, walking down the hallway. Lucky for me, there was one that at the far end of the corner, just before passing by one of the bigger stores. Walking down the hall, I heard a soft sound just ahead of me. It was light at first, but I could make it out as I proceeded forward. It sounded like a girl crying. It was coming from one of the corridors in the middle of the building. "Hello? Who's there?" I said, opening the heavy door. But it was dark. The lights had gone off. I took out my flashlight and looked around, still holding the heavy door open with one leg. No one inside, but I could still hear the crying. It sounded like it was coming from the other side of the corridor hallway. I walked into the darkness as the lights began to flicker. "They're turning on?" I guessed. But it looked like they were still having a hard time. I continued walking. I can still hear the crying now getting further away as I approached the corridor exit. I quickly opened the heavy door, shining my light left and right. I could see no one around, only the trash bins in the back. "Is someone there?" I shouted, trying to steady my nerves. No answer. The lights in the corridor turned on, with no more issues throughout the night. "Who was that?" I said to myself. "Gotta head to the bathroom." There wasn't much time for me to think at that moment. Just the need to rush over and unlock and then relock the restroom door. Finally running down the hall to the men's side at the very back. I sat in one of the stalls. It was quiet and very peaceful. No one around to bother you in the time of need like it was during the day. Just as I was feeling relieved, I heard footsteps. It was about to say, how did someone get in, when I heard one of the motion sensor sinks turn on. I looked through an opening on the door, but could only see hands and black boots, with the wall preventing me from getting a good look. "Who's there?" I said, trying to recover quickly. The water stopped, but no movement. "Hello?" I said, putting on my belt. Still no answer or movement. I opened the stall door and looked around the wall. Nothing. I can slowly feel my heart racing as I swallowed back my saliva. I looked at the sink that sounded like it was on earlier and found water still inside. What the? It was hard to process that I began to wash my hands without thinking. I walked towards the restroom door, only to discover it was still locked. I could feel my hair standing up on the back of my neck as I reached to unlock the door. It was now 3 a.m. as I locked the door behind me. My night was not over yet. I headed over to the locker room to begin my lunch break. I could still hear my heart beating as I sat down to eat. I know I saw someone, I thought to myself. I'll just check the whole mall again just in case. "Damn," I said right after I accidentally spilled one of my Cokes. And it had to be one of my favorites, pineapple. Standing up, I heard the sound of a footstep entering the front door. I could tell it was the front door by the sound of the metal step placed there to keep water and dirt out. But the chair I was sitting on, I had placed to be able to look at the front door, yet there was no one. I looked away for just a moment, and there it was again, as if someone just entered. I slowly headed to the door, holding my keys with my left hand to prevent any sound from being made, and my radio with the other. It was quiet now. Still, I slowly approached, my heart feeling as if it were caught in my throat. Finally, I was near the entrance. But as I stuck my head out to see who was there, wham! A cat jumps out of the trash can just beside the door. A great sigh of relief I gave, feeling as if my heart just skipped a beat. I laughed at myself for letting that night get to me, but still, I wondered if it was a cat's doing, then who was it that I heard crying and saw washing their hands? Till this day, I've never known. Night Terror. Summer 2015. It's been almost a year since I've been out of work. I was recently let go from my job working at a warehouse. Now I've been taking on seasonal jobs anywhere I could get them. Cashier, boxroom stocker, sales associate, janitor, dishwasher. You name it, I've most likely done it. Everywhere I've went, I never lasted long for many reasons. I've been yelled at by customers, being called useless, the devil, a demon, waste of a human life. I've been threatened by coworkers, managers, being told if I do a perfect job in front of their bosses again, they'll make my life miserable. Most did. Others have quit before they got the chance. Everywhere I went was a new obstacle. Of course, it wasn't always bad. I've made friends, many protecting me from others or standing by my side when things got out of hand. But there was one thing I did look forward to when I got home: sleep. It was my sanctuary, a peace I could retreat to and make anything happen. I could have superpowers like Goku, pilot a mobile suit like in G Gundam, or be a romantic like in Love Hina. And this night, well, wasn't as it seemed. It's twilight hour, a beautiful shade of red, orange, and blue over the valley. Stars are just peeking through this blanket as if telling everyone good night. Normally, I sit on the porch listening to 94.5 on the radio, just before heading to the shower. But I was exhausted. From working on the yard, I decided to head towards the shower. Cool and refreshing. Nothing beats cooling off in the shower after being outside in the South Texas heat. Entering my room, I could see my fan was already on just next to my window. It felt amazing as I threw myself on my bed without a care in the world, slowly falling asleep diagonally on my bed. Crunch, crunch. I heard it as my eyes slightly opened. Crunch, crunch. I could see that it was a bit darker now. There was still enough sunlight to make my room a blue-like color. Crunch, crunch. What is that sound? I thought to myself. It was soft. Not the sound of something eating, but maybe the sound of something moving. Crunch, crunch. Footsteps? I thought, and they're coming from behind me, but I couldn't see. For some strange reason, my body couldn't move. It was heavy, weighed down in a way. Only my eyes could move, but nothing else. I could see my left arm right next to me. Sometime during my sleep, I seemed to have turned myself around, laying slightly on my back. Yet I could not move. Crunch. It felt closer now. I could feel something just looking at me, causing my heart to start racing. I wanted to yell out, but when I tried, my mouth would open, but no sound would come out. I slowly began to panic now as I felt what could only be hands touching my face. They were cold, bony. I could feel them slowly examining my face and neck as they gently glide across. I couldn't move. I called out, but nothing I did worked. Then, just as I was looking at my left arm, I saw exactly what kind of hand was touching my body so thoroughly. The fingers were long and bony. Its nails were black and pointy. Its skin was colorless, gray but white. My heart raced faster as this hand could be seen now caressing my arm, its fingers gently going up then down. I tried to yell, screaming in my head, "Get up! Get up! This is not right!" But to no success. Then, as if the weight was lifted off, my body became light. My left arm was being moved by this monstrous hand to my side, and I began to feel whatever was watching me slowly lift me up. I was hovering. I could see my bed just below me as I was slowly put down properly onto my bed. It wasn't long before I realized that I was finally awake. I stood up. I screamed. But why was I screaming? I did not know. I looked around my room, saw nothing. My door was wide open, but no one was there. I got up. I saw no one. What was that I just saw? It was so creepy. so intense, yet so calming.